Yes, the real media.
KJAG Radio and KMA Entertainment, your source for entertainment news and interviews in Central and South Central Kansas. The best of the best are here, and we go above and beyond to bring you the most bang for your buck. Find us on the social sites like Facebook and Twitter. Log on to kjagradio.com and jiggyjaguar.com for more.
Thank you. Good night.
Back to the Jiggy Jaguar Show on the network.
Back here on the big broadcast, we've got a great guest this day. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. We'll talk a little bit about what they're here for doing on the show. Go ahead and jump in there, my friend.
Well, say hello to the Blue guy. This is the Blue Meanie, former WWE wrestler and ECW original.
Yes, indeed. Now, talk to me a little bit about Extreme Rising. This is going to be a huge, huge event coming up, man.
Well, I mean, Extreme Rising, they've been putting on some great events over the last several months. The latest one is going to be in Philadelphia this Saturday at the Armory in Philadelphia. If you need information, directions, all that good stuff, go to extremerising.com. A lot of it, a lot of the cards filled with some ECW originals, and a lot of the guys that ECW probably would have booked if ECW was still around today. So it's a good blend of old with the new, and trying to give the fans, some creative outlet to to watch some good wrestling. So hopefully we deliver this Saturday like we have the last few events. So it should be good.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the differences between this and ECW and some of these other reunion shows that have been around.
Well, I mean, I originally started off as like an ECW type reunion show, but it also, like I said before, trying to give people a taste of some of the newer talent that ECW really probably would have used if ECW had still been around. I mean, you don't see anybody, out there looking for a WCW Thunder reunion show or a Nitro reunion show, or nobody's, going for an AWA reunion show. A lot of people still long and pine for ECW. I mean, ECW gave, and none of us are in walkers yet, so I mean, we can still go on. I'm so active on the indie circuit, and I may be 39, but mentally I'm 13, so I can still go. So I'm good. I'm good. And a lot of guys. I mean, it's like the movie The Godfather. That scene where it's like, just when I think I'm out, they suck me back in. You just love it. It's something you love, something you do, and something you really can't explain to somebody who's never done it before. It's just a matter of feel, and it's just when you get into the groove and of seeing people you haven't seen in a while. It's more along the lines of a high school reunion, going right. So and we're not there to impress each other with our. We all know what we do for a living, so. I mean, it's a chance to work with people I know, I trust, and respect, and in the meantime, to be in front of some of the most amazing fans out there. Some of the hardcore, fans out there are the ones that, will support wrestling, and when it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, they let you know. So you always got to appreciate an audience that keeps you honest.
What did you think when the organizers of Extreme Rising got a hold of you and got a hold of some of the other guys in the business and said, hey, we're going to do a couple reunion shows, and if they work, we're going to, kind of bring back a full-fledged wrestling promotion. What were some of the thoughts going through your head? Because you've been through this before, my friend, with TNA doing some stuff, and then WWE's doing some things, and there's been a couple other events that Shane Douglas has put on in the past, and Jeremy Borash has done some stuff with Shane, and they brought some of the older guys back and some of the newer guys and people of that nature. Talk to me about what you thought when you got the call.
Oh, I was excited. Like I said, I mean, it's a chance to get to see people again. This company does have aspirations of being more than just a reunion company. That's why they took away the moniker Extreme Reunion and decided to rebrand the company Extreme Rising. It's because you could take this and you could go forward with it. And they built some good shows. They're experimenting with internet pay-per-view, and they got the home video releases and stuff like that, and digital downloads. And I sit back, I go, man, I wish all this was around when ECW was around.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it would have been amazing. I mean, there would have been such great, it would have been like several different, alternative cash flow options for ECW to where, hey, they might still have been around. But, I mean, some people take these shows for what they are and the opportunity to work, opportunity, to see some friends, and if it turns into something greater, excellent, And if it doesn't, at least we gave it a good old college try. And, I mean, I'm a wrestler, so... if you give me a ring and some ropes and a MapQuest map and just show me where to go, I'll get there. I'll put on my Daisy Dukes and hair shirt and I'll paint my face like a raccoon and just get out there and do the Meanie thing. What else am I gonna do? Sit home and play MLB The Show on the PlayStation? I mean, I'm a wrestler. So if you ask a wrestler if he wants to wrestle, yeah, I want to wrestle. Until my knees and back and other body parts say, Brian, you better cut that out. I'll be there. And I like the folks who run this company. I'm 18 years in the business. It'll be 19 years in March.
Wow.
Yeah, I drove
That's
off.
That's amazing, dude. Because you don't seem that old.
And mentally, I don't feel it, and it seems like it seems like yesterday. I drove out to Al Snow's wrestling school the day after WrestleMania 10, and that's the best way I remember it. Because I remember I was in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, and some random wrestling. Some random radio station in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, was giving out WrestleMania reports. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But, I'm going to 19 years, and, I always was taught, never take it, take everything for what it is, everything in the business is written in pencil, just because, as soon as it's easily booked, it's easily erasable. So, if they run another show and we go out there and do another show, great. If it builds, it builds. If it doesn't, we give it a good shot. But the people behind the scenes at Extreme Rising are very professional. They know they know what they're doing. Every way from Kevin to Shane to Cody, to Steve. They're busting their humps. I live right in South Philly near the ECW Arena. And you can't walk anywhere without seeing a poster for the shows. I know a lot of local businesses in the area, and they give me some flyers, and I'll go around to the local businesses. Hey, we're having a show. Do you mind if I, drop some flyers on your counter here? And it's a grassroots thing. Pound the pavements, punk rock. Get out there and let people know you exist. And if it was any other people, I don't know if I would be this passionate about it, but just the fact that I'm working for a good group of people, I really care that much more about the product, and hopefully it turns into something bigger. It's baby steps, man. You just gotta.
Well, and see, that's the thing, and that's why I love the crap out of Extreme Rising, and have loved working with these guys for the last couple of months. Is because that's the thing. You guys are doing it the way that everybody, I've seen indie promoters and people around the country, and they're doing the same thing you guys are doing. It doesn't matter if, because most of the people that are either behind the scenes or working in front of the cameras or whatever, these, they're basically living legends in professional wrestling and everything, and you guys are still doing it the way that everybody else does it. And like you were saying, you're hitting the streets and you're dropping off flyers and you're making stuff happen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, try to. There's people who do it the right way, like Extreme Rising, and then there's people who do it like Field of Dreams. Book it, and they will come. They think if you just book a wrestling show that through telekinesis, that every wrestling fan is going to just magically show up. They're magically going to just drive from wherever they're at to the center of where the building is, and they're just going to automatically show up. You can't, strictly. I mean, the internet's a great tool, but it can't be just that. You got to do internet. You got to do flyers. You got to do phone calls, emails. Television. Tell a people. Tell a friend. Telephone. And I mean, if it's worth doing it, then it turns into something bigger. But I love showing up at these shows. Especially coming up here in Philly today. This Philly show is going to be Jerry Lynn's last appearance ever in the city of Philadelphia. And Jerry Lynn is one of those genuine people in this business that I truly love, not only as a wrestler, but as a human being, because he's an excellent human being, and I'm proud to call him a friend. And just the fact that I'll be there, live in the building for his last appearance in Philly means a lot.
I've never heard anybody say anything nasty about Jerry Lynn. That is the one thing. There's all sorts of shoot videos and all sorts of people on the internet and different things, and there's all sorts of different people that say things about everybody. But just from the people that we've had on the show the last couple months and different shoot interviews and things that I've seen, nobody ever says a cross word about Jerry Lynn. That is so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry's a straight shooter. He doesn't. He's not a liar. He's not going to steal from you. He's not going to lie to you. And when you go in the ring with him, he's going to give you 100%, and hopefully, in return, give it back. And I think it's also because he's got a neat accent, but that Minnesota accent that makes people just swoon over him. It's just. It's like my cousins when I was a kid. They loved guys with an Irish accent. I think everybody likes somebody with a Minnesota accent.
Well, I remember seeing, Jerry Lynn. I think my first major experience of seeing him on TV was the old Global Wrestling Federation on ESPN several years ago.
Same here.
Yeah. He was. It was awesome watching him and Lightning Kid and all the different guys that were there, and watching him go through WCW and end up in ECW. I think his run in WWE was kind of disappointing, but that's just the wrestling fan in me talking. But But yeah, I met him. Probably 4 or 5 years ago at an indie show, and everybody that was there was just like, oh my God, it's Jerry Lynn and everything, and Jerry Lynn's just like, oh yeah, I'm here. Wasn't that big of a deal, and he's always been a good guy. So yeah, I think this is going to be a heck of a deal for the show coming up this weekend. We're talking about Extreme Rising. We've got the Blue Meanie with us today here in the big broadcast. Now, talk to me a little bit about breaking in with Al Snow's wrestling school. That must have been a fun experience. What was some of the hard things that some of the more bone breaking making it into the business type thing? What was some of the most shocking things that you thought, oh my God, that wrestlers are doing this? What?
Well, I mean, it's when you're a fan. I mean, and this might come off sounding the wrong way, but I thought I knew a lot, and then I got into the wrestling business, and I realized how little I actually knew. Yep. And it's just amazing, wrestling fans, you can watch a tape, and you can think you can see when guys are calling spots and why somebody does this or that, and then you actually start doing it and learning it, and you go, man, I was really way off base. Yeah. And a lot of people, grow up, they go to high school and they take their SATs and, they prepared themselves for college. And all I ever wanted to do was, go to a wrestling school. And I was lucky enough to find Al through a woman named Phyllis Lee, who, was like she worked a lot with the Malenkos in Florida. And
oh yeah, she was one of the people I remember who was kind of instrumental in like Dan Severn getting involved with the UFC and things like that.
Yeah, and Dan came to Al's camp, training for his first UFC, and I was his official throwing dummy. And it's bad when Dan turns to me and goes, "Are you trying to fight back?" I'm like, "Oh, come on, man. Come on, Dan. Oh, geez, thanks. Just rub it in. I mean, not only did you choke me out with my own arm, you're asking me if I tried to fight back. But, Al's school was, like I said, people save up and tried to take their SATs to get into college. Al's wrestling gym was my college. All these people who go to college for 8 years just to get a degree, just to go flip burgers. Wind up just flipping burgers. I was like, hey, if I'm going to flip burgers anyway, let me at least try to be a wrestler first. And that doesn't work. Then I'll have a lot more money in my pocket at least. Not all these student loans. But after high school, I saved wrestling. I saved my money. I worked and went to Al's school, and it was an awakening to how the business truly is. You think you know everything, and I didn't know anything. And then the first morning, we go to learn bumps, and I almost just packed up and went back to Atlantic City where I was living at the time, just because you think you want to try to do good right off the bat, and and it's not always going to work out that way, So you're taking your forward flips, and I kept jamming my ankles. My heel was hitting, and it was just jamming my ankles. So I was getting like these shin splints. And I rolled out of the ring, and I went into the commissary area, and I just sat there. And there was a bunch of students, and then Al came out eventually. So he's like, "You all right?" He talked to me, and I was like, and then he gave me a little pep talk, and Al's like the consummate professional, where if you don't know step A, you're not going to go to step B unless you know step A. You're not going to go to step C unless you know step B. So I, just doing learning, step A, and it was getting frustrating. And just the way he would, talk to you and give you a pep talk and make you feel good about yourself, he got me to get up and say, yeah, and get me back in the ring. And, I started nailing stuff and getting things down, and eventually, I went there in, I want to say, March of 94, and I had my first match around June of 94, so in a small town in Canada. The name escapes me right now. But just you think you know everything, and then it's there's so much more intricate. It's so intricate, and how things work, and I'm very fortunate. Almost 19 years later, I'm still here, and you're interested enough to talk to me and have me on your show here. Because trust me, there's a lot of guys who are out there who are super talented. Maybe there's a lot of guys who are probably more talented than me, but I just happened to get the break at the right time in the right place and create opportunities. To show up to shows I wasn't booked on. Trying to get work and just going on hunches. And my biggest hunch of all paid off by just showed up at a show at my friend's show in Pittsburgh that and Raven and Stevie just happened to be on there, and I take a Greyhound bus out there for a 6-hour ride and just get to work, and they noticed me and they asked me if I wanted to be Stevie's sidekick. So it's amazing when you reflect back these 18, 19 years of everything you've done and how quickly it goes. Well,
and see, that's the thing, man. Taking that was an interesting time. You got involved, and that eventually ended up, you got in as in ECW, and the BWO and everything. That is the one thing that I have always been a fan of, the BWO. You guys were great. Who came up with the idea to lampoon that? Was that a Paul idea? Did he basically come to you guys and say, "Hey, we're going to do this," or did you and Stevie come up with the idea?
We had already done a few parodies. We did the Blue Meanie Bloods. We did Public Enemy. We did the Fabulous Ones, Blue Dustman, Bearmont Stevie, and a whole bunch of goofy stuff. And it all comes back to Al Snow, where I was just having a random conversation with him. He was in WWE at the time. I was in ECW, and I called him. We're shooting the breeze. Oh no, actually, I think I went to see him. He had just wrestled at a WWE show, and I stopped by the hotel to talk to him. I was like, "Yeah, man, we've been doing all these parodies." I was like, eventually we should. The New World Order, NWO, so hot. We should do that. Instead of New World Order, we could be the Blue World Order, and and Al, kind of, cracked up. He popped for it. I was like, yeah. Instead of the bad guy, Razor Ramon, I could be the blue guy. And he was cracking up, and I was like, maybe I'll pitch this. Next time I saw Stevie, I mentioned it to Stevie, and then we went to Raven with it, and Raven thought it was a good idea, and then it just went to the chain command, from me to Stevie to Raven, Raven to Paulie. And we figured out who's who, and in the parody, and it was supposed to be a one-night thing, man. We went out there; it was going to be a one-night thing, and then they heard the crowd reaction, and then I think they saw dollar signs when they realized they could sell T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing that I thought was great, was the T-shirts, man.
Yeah, I mean, people.
You still see those today, man.
That's what I'm saying. And that's the cool thing about being the Blue World Order is, like, a blue T-shirt stands out in any crowd, I mean, everybody's got black T-shirts, and you don't know what it is, but you see that big blue shirt with the white logo on it, you know what that is. And, there was one on WrestleMania. There's been several on, Raw, and it's flattering, first of all. Like I said, it's flattering that, 19 years later, you want me on your show, flattering all these years later, you still see my T-shirt on, on Raw. So,
it's an amazing run, dude. We've got the Blue Meanie with us today here on the big broadcast talking about Extreme Rising coming up this weekend. It's going to be the last wrestling show of the year. That is really cool that you guys are the last wrestling show for this calendar year. Talk to me a little bit about your involvement this weekend and heading out there to the big show.
As far as I know right now, I am not a card substitute. I'm how you see a wrestling poster where it says "and many more."
That's right.
I'm and many more. I'm and many more. But no, I'm actually on the posters. But it's just that's another day, another booking where you show up and you say you're doing this, and you go, okay, I'll do that.
They toss you in there.
Yeah, man. And sometimes I like it like that.
I always liked reading those wrestling posters with "to be announced." There was a joke I seen one time in a wrestling magazine where they were like, "That guy gets a lot of bookings."
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. That would be a great gimmick name, But
card subject to change, to be announced.
Yeah.
It could be a tag team,
Right, nobody's ever done that yet, But I'll show up, and most likely it'll be me and both Balls Mahoney as a tag team, and we've been thrown together as Team Blue Balls. And
that's awesome. That's another marketable gimmick.
Yeah. One time it was me, Balls Mahoney, and Supernova. We did a 6-man tag, and my biggest regret is not getting the ring announcer to announce that says Team Super Blue Balls. But I was going to have the announcer. I was going to see if Extreme Rising wanted to call us Team Bluetooth, but I think Balls lost his last tooth about a year ago. So, I love Mahoney. It's just like he's a big, lovable, silly guy, who can cripple you with a steel chair.
Yes, yes, and he looks kind of awkward since he's lost weight. I get a lot of people telling me, "Is he sick?" And I'm like, "No, he just lost weight."
Just lost weight. I mean, there's a period of my time where my whole life I was heavy set.
Yeah.
And, everyone from my family to friends and all that, why don't you lose weight? Why don't you lose weight? And then, I said, okay. So I went and lost 160 pounds. And everybody went, you okay, man? Do you have cancer? Are you sick? What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
I was like, what? I was like, did you really just ask me that question? My whole life you've been telling me to lose weight, and now you're telling me I don't look right? Make up your mind, people. But, if Mahoney wants to, lose a couple pounds, to prolong his life, then, so be it.
That's a cool deal. Now, talk to me a little bit about how does some of these reunion shows. I know that there's going to be one coming up real soon, something like Hardcore Road Trip or something in Canada. Are you involved with that at all?
Yeah, I believe I'm in the first round tournament against TDWS Anderson.
That's cool.
And I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also trying not to look too far into the future because the time will just fly by, and before you know it's over, and you go, oh man, what now? But you take it one booking at a time, and it'll be cool to to see guys again, and work with guys I know and trust, and all that good stuff. So.
Well, that's cool. Well, I didn't know if you had to get permission from the Extreme Rising people to be able to do something like that, because it's kind of using the same people, and I didn't know, what was exactly going on there, at least from a wrestling fan's perspective.
Well, if they want to give me a contract, I'll gladly not do any other show. Up until now, I'm still an independent contractor, and have bags will wrestle, and
there you go.
These bills ain't gonna pay themselves.
Well, that too.
Yeah, but nobody's expressed anything to me other than nothing. I mean, nobody's said anything to me. And it's all good. So the more bookings, the merrier. So.
We've got the Blue Meanie with us today here on the big broadcast, and he's going to be involved in Extreme Rising coming up this weekend. It's going to be a heck of a show, and I want to talk a little bit about what you've been doing recently before you started doing the Extreme Rising thing. What's been going on? I noticed you had kind of a run in TNA there for a while. Went back in, I think it was 2010. And you've been doing some things off and on. What have you been doing up until now?
Well, I really didn't do much with TNA other than just sending a promo for the pay-per-view they had, because around the time they were doing that, by the time they were doing their reunion show, I had already planned a vacation that I already bought and paid for. So they were like, would you love to do it? I was like, yeah, I would love to do it. My only problem is the day after the pay-per-view, I'm already scheduled to fly out of Philadelphia to California for vacation. And, it's 2 plane tickets. I was like, can you at least, chip in and reroute my tickets? And they're like, oh, well, we'll see. So the millionaire didn't want to,
we'll see. That's good.
The lady who owns the energy company couldn't afford, a measly couple $100 just to, reroute my tickets, So they, had the imposter guy, and they're like, do you want to send in a promo? I was like, yeah, I'll send in a promo. And other than that, the only time I really worked I was on TNA's 4th ever show. Yeah. But besides that, I'm still active in doing independent wrestling. I'm doing some independent acting. There's a company, if you go to wastedapples.com, you'll see several links to several movies I've done. Most recently is a movie called Mancation that I did with Joey Fatone from Backstreet Boys.
That's cool.
And, NSYNC. I'm sorry, my girlfriend just corrected me. NSYNC. With Joey Fat One Fatone.
Joey Fat One, that's right. Did the announcer for Family Feud.
That was a Freudian.
That's right. I knew you'd pick up on that, homie.
Family Food. That's tremendous. But he's a good dude, and it was him and Winnie from the Wonder Years. And
that's kind of cool.
yeah, that certainly does not suck. I've done several movies with them. Mancation, another one that Kevin Smith and his company are going to distribute called Miss December,
That's
which
cool.
is a little bit of a comedy/murder mystery. And I'm going to be filming a part in a documentary coming up. My friend Tommy Avalone from WastedApples.com, he is doing a documentary on people who play Santa Claus. And I mean, like,
That's
real
kinda
bearded
cool.
Santa Clauses. And he follows them from the day after Christmas all the way through through the year up until the following Christmas to see what they do when they're not being Santa Claus. And he got Mick Foley to be involved with it. And,
Oh, wow.
Mick Foley actually went through the whole process of turning himself into a Santa Claus and went and did an appearance as Santa Claus, not as Mick Foley. And my part in the movie is knowing Mick since ECW and eventually traveling with Mick in WWE. We rode the miles together, and being that Mick is the biggest mark of Christmas there is. They want to get my perspective, but they want to get my perspective because Mick, you go to a certain place, he's always going to Christmas Village, he's always playing the Christmas music and stuff like that, and that's the latest documentary I'm going to be involved with in. Along with, I was also involved with the latest CCW documentary that in the works. It's almost being wrapped up.
Oh yeah, we talked to those guys. They were they were really excited. They talked about how they had interviewed 1 million of the guys, and they had done all these. They had all these videos and things just sitting in, basically sitting in the closet waiting to be put together, and they were trying to get the financing and everything for it. It sounds like it's going to be a really cool DVD when it comes out.
Yeah, I actually got to see a rough cut of it, and it looks great. I mean, with a rough cut, you don't have a lot of the music or the B-roll, the footage over the. But from what I saw, it looks really good. And then they actually went out and did some more interviews. I helped them interview another ECW original named Tony Stetson.
That's
and
cool.
they interviewed Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh wow!
And they're just interviewing different people to get their perspective on the company and see they got guys like Billy Corgan just to see how far-reaching the company was. It's brought appeal to all sorts of different types of people. And that documentary should be coming out very soon. They're working on a little bit of a surprise, so it kind of delayed the movie premiere. But if it comes off, I'm not going to spoil it or whatever, and try not to think that. But if they can pull it off, it'll be a really cool experience for those who already invested in the film for the premiere. So
well, I know that all the ECW guys that we've talked to and everybody that was kind of back in that hardcore era, every time that movie gets brought up, they're just like, yeah, this is awesome, it's going to be a good movie, blah blah blah. And so I'm glad to see that universally, much like we were talking earlier with Jerry Lynn, everybody's excited for this movie. No one's really had a bad thing to say. We have kind of our own little ECW original, not really little, but ECW original in our neck of the woods here in Kansas. Angel Medina, who used to be in the Baldies. Is here in Wichita area, and I brought it up to him one time when I seen him somewhere, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna have this DVD come out. It's gonna be awesome." Blah blah blah. So yeah, everybody's excited for this.
Yeah, it should be pretty good. I mean, it looks really good, and the people who behind it are genuinely good people. And the one thing that makes it interesting is the one producer. John is a huge wrestling fan, and his partner is completely not a fan. So you get
that's good.
I guess. You get John who knows the knowledge of wrestling and stuff like that, and his partner Kevin, who's the objective one.
Yes.
Why is it like that? So I mean, it's a yin and yang thing. To where they balance each other out, stuff like that. So. it's definitely going to be interesting.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a heck of a movie. And couple more questions before I let you go, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us today and promoting Extreme Rising, because this is going to be a heck of a show. Couple different things. One, give me your thoughts on what you think of a lot of people that have. They're not real happy with, I guess, the extreme movement and everything. Because I know I've seen a couple interviews with like Paul, and he's like, I wish these guys would just get over it and move on. And that was a time that, it was a magical time, blah blah blah. But these guys need to move on. And then there's been a couple other former guys that were around back then that have expressed, they're not real happy with, Extreme Rising and some of these companies, coming along. And it's like, why would you not, be pumped up for something like this? Because the guys still are in good shape, the guys still can work, and people are still coming out and paying their money to see the show.
Right. As far as like the Paul situation is, I think I think if Paul had his druthers, he'd still be running ECW and being his own boss and being his own creative force, instead of having to work for Vince like he is now or stuff like that. But then again, towards the end, it seemed like he was a little bit tired and willing to move on. And it always seemed like Paul was always trying to think of something new to do, to stay fresh and relevant. And to him, maybe it's a step backwards. But hey, we're still wrestlers and we still like working with each other. I mean, where else am I going to, see these guys? I'd rather see them I'd rather see these guys at a show. I mean, it's not like we live in the same neighborhood, or it's not like you're running into each other at the grocery store, or stuff like that. But we're wrestlers, and if you're going to put want to work with anybody, you want to work with the wrestlers and you trust.
Yep.
And this is all we got. I mean, some of us have side projects and stuff like that, but when it comes to the wrestling, this is it. This is what we got. And I tried running shows after ECW closed under a promotion called 3PW.
Yep, I've got some of those DVDs, man. Those were some pretty kick-ass shows, man.
Yes, thank you. And I caught flack for you're just trying to be another ECW. I was like, how so? Well, you run the ECW arena. I was like, well, am I supposed to not run a building that everybody knows how to get to?
That's right.
You just say the arena and people know where to go. Oh, you're using ECW guys. Oh, so I'm just supposed to use nobodies. It's not like I can call Vince and go,
right.
Hey Vince, can you give me Triple H for a shot? You use the top name talent that's available, and that's going to show up and wrestle. So, it's the same thing with Extreme Rising. I can see, where Paulie, I think maybe Paulie wishes the ECW still would have been around, but I respect his opinion. I mean, he's entitled to it, and I can't say anything about. I can't say anything bad about the guy, because if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't know who I am. So,
Exactly. He was a damn innovator, man. I know that there's people on the internet that always make all the nasty comments about ECW and all the bouncing checks and all that bullshit. But realistically, dude, you're right. If it wouldn't have been for him, nobody would know who a lot of you guys are.
Yeah, I mean, it was just as what was I going to say? An unfortunate incident, episode of circumstance. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Where I mean, he thought he had a deal lined up with a network, and the network turned around and didn't give him any advertising time. Didn't run one ad.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally had to be a smart mark to even know they were on the network. And, they were their top-rated show at the time. And, then ECW was just the guinea pig to see if he could, handle that network to handle wrestling. And then they went and just got WWE.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's unfortunate. But and people want talk about the Bales checks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're one man, and you're trying to tame so many different personalities, and you're trying to juggle so many different personalities on top of trying to run shows and doing all this political stuff that goes on behind the scenes and stuff like that. But then again, there's a lot of people who wouldn't be known if it wasn't for him. So, I owe everything to him. So, when I didn't get money, I got an experience, and I got notoriety. Yeah, and if it wasn't for Paulie and ECW, WWE wouldn't have noticed me. Vince Russo was a huge fan of ECW, and when they came along and they needed Sunday Night Heat, they were getting Sunday Night Heat. They needed more talent. And initially, they were going to bring me in as the counteract, because WCW had the Nitro Girls. I was going to come out and be the Raw Boy. And
really?
Yeah, it's going to be a parody of the Nitro Girls. I was just going to be the Raw Boy, and eventually it turned into me just joining the Job Squad, and then from the Job Squad, I aligned myself with Goldust. Once the Job Squad disbanded, and none of that would have happened without ECW. So I can't say anything. Paulie had his flaws, but I can look in the mirror and say I'm not perfect either.
Well, that too.
Yeah, I'm just being a realist. It's being a realist, and call me naive, call me whatever, but at the end of the day, 19 years later, you're talking to me because of Paulie. So, and all good.
Well, but before I let you go, man, I appreciate you being on. I hope we can do this a couple more times in the new year, because it's been kind of a blast talking to you. I wanted to talk about 3PW. That's what I wanted to. That was a couple questions that I had towards the end here, man. Talk to me about how that got started and what was kind of some of the biggest downfalls of that, because you had some talent in that company.
ECW went down, and it felt like there was a void in Philadelphia independent wrestling. Some people, ran Jersey and here and there, and at the time maybe CZW, is what you had, but we wanted to show. CZW gave you a certain brand, with the ultra violence and stuff like that, and we tried. I was thinking, let's. Run a show, that, gives, something a little bit alternative to that. And initially, I always had thought in my mind that I didn't want to be a promoter, but, I didn't want to run shows because Al Snow kind of gave me the heads up, that it's just really a pain in the butt. And,
yes, and I've been around a lot of indie promoters just recently, and it is a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah, and needless to say, once 3PW went out of business, I really didn't even shed a tear. But just from the frustration part. But I always compare 3PW to an unwanted pregnancy. It's something I wasn't planning on to do, but once I had it, it was like, no, that's just kind of cool. And just me and Todd Gordon came on board, and a lot of the talent knew Todd, trusted Todd, and Todd knew was a good manager of people. When it comes to if somebody you have an idea and you pitch the idea and there's a little bit of resistance, Todd was always good at come on, we can do it like this and that and that and that, and then ultimately Todd would get things done. So we ran shows and stuff like that, and the biggest downfall was we had financial backing, and the financial backer decided that wrestling wasn't what the financial backer wanted to do. The financial backer wanted to get into a different line of entertainment, and that was the downfall of that. We eventually found another backer, and he was just having his own personal deal, and had health problems, and he. Once he realized he had to manage his own personal health issues, that he couldn't devote devote full time to 3PW, and that's it just became like let's just close it down.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't even know it was closed down. I actually read on the internet that 3PW closed down, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, just like ECW. I found out, by watching Paulie walk down the WWE Titantron ramp or wall ramp or whatever. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how a lot of this
wow.
Out. Yeah. Yeah, just weird how the wrestling business works.
It is a crazy, crazy business, brother. I'll have to say, man. Well, I've had some. There was one time I was, and this was just, I think it was SummerSlam this last year. That I went to a SummerSlam party at a bar, and me and Angel got to talking, and we got to talking about different things, and I asked him about, how come you never ended up in WWE? And that's a hell of a story. So it is a crazy business.
It is. I mean, and if you explain it to like I say, if you explain it to a civilian, they would just never grasp it or get it. But it's one of those things. Those who are in the business get it, and those who aren't just. It's hard to wrap your mind around how some this stuff in this business can happen, but it happens. And I mean, all you gotta do is just shake your head, shake it off, and move on. Move forward.
Definitely, man. Well, I appreciate you being on with us today. Extreme Rising is this weekend. Check out the website. Also, I believe you can do iPay-per-view as well. ExtremeRising.com, I believe, is the website, and check it out.
ExtremeRising.com, yeah. And
it's gonna be a blast. You're gonna be there, and most of the Extreme Rising talent, a guy that I am really interested in seeing. We've had him on this broadcast a few times before. Papa Don is going to be there, and
he's a phenomenal talent.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this guy because I think he could definitely go some places in this business. Well, I appreciate you being on today, man, and hit us up after the first of the year. We'd love to have you back.
Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure. A lot of times you do these radio shows, and you're like, you get on, and then you just find out it's some dude in his mom's basement. And you're just like, oh, okay.
That's right.
So this was actually refreshing to talk to somebody, who knew what they're talking about, knew what they were doing, and I'd love to come back on. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/Brian.Heffron, my real name, or you can get in touch with me on Twitter at twitter.com/TheBlueMeanie. And again, this Saturday, come out, see Jerry Lynn's final match in Philadelphia, and let's give him a really good send-off. The man deserves it, and regardless of who else is on the show, at least come on out for Jerry Lynn. And maybe you'll hear him talking on the microphone and be swept away in his Minnesota accent.
And hey, if you're going to get swept away, that's the guy to get swept away by.
Yeah, man. He's the man. I got to admit it, man. I got a soft spot in my heart for Jerry Lynn, man.
So you're a Jerry Lynn mark.
Oh, huge mark. Huge mark. I would gladly carry his bags.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, check out the Blue Meanie on Twitter at the Blue Meanie and
the Blue Meanie.
The Blue Meanie.
Some jerk in Germany stole the Blue Meanie.
Dang it! Dang him!
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate.
What's wrong with Germans?
That's right. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you after the first of the year, man. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
Definitely. Well, we'll talk to you soon, man. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks, man. Later.